Welcome to a new video. Today we talk about everything that's happening in the Bitcoin markets. We talk about CZ, of course, as Binance has been a big topic. CZ has been a big topic in order to get a deal going with the DOJ, the Department of Justice in the US. We're going to talk about the price action of Bitcoin. And that's all what we're going to do in this video, because the chances of Bitcoin of continuing in this bull cycle have significantly increased. Before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and also make sure to check out the other social media channels where I'm providing a lot of content. On X, I'm providing my TA, my macroeconomic views, and more. And also on YouTube, you know that I'm making the content there, and I'm going to start doing that on Instagram too. Before we continue, this video is sponsored by Bybit. They are my go-to exchange for leverage trading, for spot trading on my investments. Best volume is over there, best liquidity is over there. And you can actually win an iPad Pro or iPhone 15 Pro if you start trading on Bybit with my affiliate. Always make sure to don't use everything on leverage trading, because it is not advised. It's very tricky and there are a lot of risks involved. Also, as you might know, our consultancy and asset management has started. If you are a corporate and looking for advice on your portfolio, you are here at the right place. We can assist you. If you are trading and you're looking for trade advice for the upcoming bull cycle, or just regular TA tips and tricks for a one-on-one consultancy with me or my team, we are here. And then we've got several portfolio packages from low risk to high risk that assist you through the bull cycle, that can give you a significant return. They have been doing between 30 to 40% since the 1st of September. All can be done within our consultancy and portfolio management. And everything can be found here on the website with the link beneath. Now, when we're looking at the big news, I think Binance is the big news. A few days ago, CZ took a chess play. He resigned as the CEO of Binance. I think it's a wise decision, and you see a lot of topics right now, discussions right now, that Binance is a bad company, etc. But if you look at the files that were deployed on the actual court case, you can see that CZ made a decision a few years ago to avoid all the troublesome, because Binance was the biggest party and they wanted to enter the US markets, but in order to enter the US markets, they need to become regulated. And in order to get regulated, you need to do a lot of things before you get approved as one, which means that takes a long time. And he knows that in the crypto markets, such a long time can kill the exchange, because I'm in the markets for 7 to 8 years now, and I've seen a lot of big exchanges coming and going, in which the nature of the largest exchange is constantly moving around. And if Binance is the first mover, they need to take a lot of effort to actually get there, and then all the other exchanges can jump in. But in the meantime, Binance cannot accept all the clients anymore, and they will lose market share, lose momentum. So CZ has made the decision to not apply with the compliance rules from the US, to accept all the clients and then just say, hey, we are sorry that we didn't go through with that. We want to work alongside you, and we cut a deal. And that's what he has done. I think it's the best that we've got the outcome right now, and that are getting the data, that they have made an agreement with the US government, which means that we can move on from here. Binance is not comparable to FTX. It's just a proper business decision. And from here, we can start moving forwards. And I think clarity is what the markets need. Clarity on this topic as well. It is not a big COVID-19 crash type of thing. It is just that we are seeing that they have cut a deal. In the Netherlands, there were news articles saying that Binance was sponsoring terrorism money on the exchange. I think that's extreme. They were just not compliant with the regulatory rules. As explained, it takes a lot of effort and costs, through which you lose market share, through which you lose revenue, and Binance just didn't want to do it. So that's what you can see right now. He's taken his step down as the CEO of Binance, which is completely understandable. And from here we move on. The day after, we saw a SEC commissioner and stating that the US is ready for a spot Bitcoin ETF. We also saw that Grayscale was in direct contact with the SEC to move their trust towards an ETF. So more and more clarity and more confidence, providing the markets to know that there is the spot Bitcoin ETF, which means that we've got approximately 5 to 6 weeks before we're going to get the spot Bitcoin ETF most likely approved, that until then, the markets continue to go up. And at the moment with the spot Bitcoin ETF, that's going to be the period where we're going to get a correction, heavy one, and then continue the grind to the upside. So I still believe that this cycle is comparable to 2015 to 2017. And that from here we continue to move to the upside, and that if we get corrections of 10 to 20% on Bitcoin, those are moments to get yourself positioned into the markets. When we're looking at the markets for Bitcoin, the higher time frames are quite clear. The scenario is also still quite clear. I don't believe that we're going to have such a deep correction at this point. Honestly, I believe that perhaps in December we start to have a bigger run towards the green box, and then have the correction prior, because you also get the pre-halving run. Perhaps we get something like this and then a heavy crash. But then 2024 is going to be a relatively sideways period, grinding towards the all-time high, but relatively boring, which is comparable to the period that we experienced in 2015, 2016. So here you can see consolidation, big breakout, correction around the halving because the hype is going away, and then a period since August of 2016 until December to January of 2017, which is a few months after the halving. It takes around 6 to 7 months before we get towards this high again. So this period is the period where altcoins will start to do well, and then we start breaking highs and start the actual big upwards momentum. And I still believe that this bull cycle is going to be bigger than the previous bull cycle, in the sense that we had diminishing returns. So Bitcoin did a 14x or 17x or anything in between, because it came from 3k, went to 69k, it even did more. And then I think that diminishing returns doesn't mean that if in this cycle from 2015 to 2017 we did a 80x, and in the second cycle here we do a 20x, that we need to do a 5x after that. Because this cycle was pushed downwards by Sam Bankman with FTX pushing down the price of Bitcoin during this period, and there were articles proving that point. Diminishing returns might also mean that from here you do an 18x, you do a 20x, which means that if we go and we calculate the numbers, so we calculate the numbers and we say, hey, the bear market has been done, we do a 21x, and from here we're going to do a 20x. It is very reasonable to state that Bitcoin might be going to 300 to 400k in this bull cycle, as I think that there are way new participants joining the markets, going to push the prices, through which it is very likely that we're going to have a 2016, 2017 type of cycle, and in this period altcoins will still do well. So at this point, if we're looking at the higher time frames and the weekly time frames, where are we looking at? Well, technically speaking, we are in the phase of upwards momentum, which means that there is a very likely case that we're going to have a run towards 48k from here. And then we correct all the way down to retest the 200-week EMA. If you go back in time, we can also see that we are at least coming back a little bit towards the 200-week and the 100-week EMA. So I think that at this point, this is my primarily scenario. Perhaps we're going to have a pre-halving case where we start to break towards 48k already. When we're looking at the lower time frames, we can see that Bitcoin is still having an upwards push. So at this point, people were arguing that we're going to have a bearish divergence and are most likely going to drop south. This is still the pivotal support, but given the current momentum and strength, it's not very likely that we're going to hit that level, because everybody wants to be positioned prior to the ETF. So if we get a 10% correction, you want to get yourself going into a position on Bitcoin, right? And given what we're seeing here, the pivotal resistance is a pivotal resistance which we were facing during the first upwards run. Then during the mid correction period, it flipped support here. It kept as support here as well, and then we kept it as support later on and flipped it for resistance. So this entire block is a major one, because if we break this major one, we are eager to test this range resistance at 48k. And given the fact that we had multiple tests of this resistance, it is very likely that we're going to have a case of breakout, which means that a run towards 45 to 48k is on the cards. And also given the fact that we're currently seeing higher lows being pressed here, I think that the odds of this bearish divergence have lowered over time. It starts to become invalid, which means that I think that the odds of breaking to the upside somewhere in the beginning of December are significant. And I think Bitcoin will still remain relatively calm at this point. So where do you find your entry points? I think if we lose this structure and this low, we probably are going to face 33k. So if this low is lost, I think that anywhere between 33 to 34 is the area where you want to get yourself positioned. On the other hand, if you have any corrections in between, this green zone is the area where you want to start getting yourself positioned for a potential breakout to the upside. And to be fair, corrections will start to take place. They will be heavy. It will happen. But at this point, it still remains valid to buy every 10 to 20% dip on Bitcoin. I'll be back on Saturday with an altcoin update. Ciao.